Benefactor underwriting for this broadcast has been provided by a grant from Republic Bank. The power of red is back. Major underwriting support for this broadcast has been provided by grants from New York Community Bank, M&T Bank, Perfect Building Maintenance, Customers Bank, Collins Building Services, Marks Paneth. Additional underwriting support has been provided by grants from AmTrust Title, Bank of America, Capital One Bank, Douglaston Development Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handro Properties LLC, Handler Real Estate Organization, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, John Castamatidis Red Apple Group, New Banks, Meridian Capital Group, Ocean First Bank, RPW Group, TD Bank, the One Stop Property Group, and these friends.
I can't believe it. September marks the opening of the 22nd season of the Stoller Report. I've had many people, I've had many friends, and one of the best friends I've had on the show is my friend Josh Muss, who is the chairman Emeritus Muss Development. So today we're going to talk about what Josh has seen over his career and also where he sees the business going in 2022, especially in light of the continuing pandemic, different protocols, different ways of life. Thanks for being here, Josh.
It's my pleasure.
So when did you join Muss Development with your father?
Well, I first joined graduating law school in 1965. It was, my father was a partner with my uncle. My brother was in the office, and the office was a basement apartment in Jackson Heights.
So what was the first project that you got involved? I remember you were involved with Staten Island,
Yeah.
which was nice because you enjoyed playing golf.
not at that point in time. My first project was in Staten Island, which I started working on while I was still in law school. My last year of law school, or my last summer, I took the bus out to the ferry to the bus to the site, and stood on a development site on Manor Road in Staten Island.
Okay, was it a shopping center?
It was it was a shopping center that was built as of right only because it was a pre-existing use. They bought the property. My dad did. He bought the property, figured out what to do with it. There was a sign on the property said for rent. It happened to be for rent from the Prohibition because it was a brewery that had shut down. And the city was convinced that a pre-existing use was able to be developed even though it was a residential zone.
So you built a wall-bound supermarket?
Knocked down most of the brewery, built a wall, put a wall bounds in the shell, resurrected a dairy building that had been there since 18 something or other, and became a shopping center, and still is there with about 10 different development iterations beyond.
And you still own it?
Still own it.
Okay. So today, you know, Amazon Fresh just came to New York. They're opening up in a former Fairway in Plainview and the former Walbaums in East Setauket. So the retailers may have changed and the world has changed. Let's talk about your review of retail over the years, because you've been involved with the good, the bad, okay? And you survived, but at certain times retail has been difficult. Let's get your views on retail in the past and in the future.
Interestingly, one of the properties that was owned well before me was developed by my father and uncle in Jackson Heights, known as the Jackson Heights Shopping Center. It was a piece of property that was left over from a multifamily attached home development that's what they call taxpayers. But it was a larger site. The initial lease was to Pantry Pride, I think, maybe Food Fair, I don't remember, for about $5 a square foot. Over the years, Pantry Pride went out, Food Fair went out, Wallbounds went out, a couple of others, and eventually they changed hands, but the lease did not change hands. And about 10 years ago, after 40 some odd years, the lease finally went up from an effective $5 to $25 a square foot. And it shows sort of like staying power of neighborhood retail. Neighborhood retail has always seemed to survive, mostly because you have the food store that people have to go into. We have had other retail, and fortunately not that much in Manhattan, for example, where we had two properties or several properties in Midtown, which was at risk. The good part about it was these were food service, and it didn't work out, or it worked out because they had put so much money into it that they stayed the course. And if they did not stay the course, as places in the boroughs did not stay the course, if you had a restaurant, usually were able to turn it over because the infrastructure. Another property on 3rd Avenue, which was about 10 or 12,000 square feet, had a Walmart, not Walmart, Walgreens, and they closed. But Walgreens, being what it is, has been paying rent for the last 2 years. It's not an anchor, so it doesn't impact us. And we'll sit there and wait until somebody that takes the space, or they re-rent it, or Walmart, or Walgreens makes a comeback.
So now your son, Jason, is running the company. You're the chairman emeritus following. Where do you see, Jason has done certain things that you hadn't done over the years, okay? I mean, you were always in Brooklyn when you did Oceana. He went to Sheepshead Bay for another project over there.
Yeah.
He's gone out of New York City. He's, as you said to me before, you never took money from other investors or friends, okay? He's looking at the opportunity to take funds from...
Very, very limited, only because they force it upon him, literally, because they're either brokers or lawyers or accountants that have done business with him and have such a comfort level as to his outlook and his success. Jason is a big disappointment to me.
Why is he disappointed?
I wanted him to be a builder, developer, like I was, like my father was, like my grandfather was. I tell him that's our specialty. We work harder, we find places that nobody else cares about. We don't just buy somebody else's success. And he also saw some of the pitfalls that creates and understood the risks, and he has been a lot more conservative and has looked for opportunities not only within New York City, very limited, but nevertheless he's found some terrific opportunities, but he's gone south. He saw the coming of, well, first of all, in the South, Alabama, North Carolina, there are pockets of housing where people don't know what they should get for rent. In New York City, we will have a 2-bedroom apartment that you'll pay a minimum of $5,000 to $7,000 or $8,000 a month rent. Down south, they have 2-bedroom apartments where people have jobs, which are renting for closer to $1,000. A person from New York says, wow, that's a bargain. We should buy into it. And that's become a late rush of opportunity for people who are looking elsewhere.
One of the developments is you built the premier hotel in Brooklyn, continues to be the premier. What's your thoughts on the hospitality?
We were fortunate enough during the height of the pandemic when nobody was in hotels, unless you wanted to sell out to the homeless. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it does not augur well for your future. If you've been a homeless shelter or if you put in patients that were impacted. We held out. We downsized. We worked with Marriott, who were very difficult to work with. We worked with our bankers, who are very difficult to work with. But I think they appreciated our commitment, our persistence, and they appreciated that if we did hold out, things have to get better. They can't get worse. So we're hopeful. We've had a comeback.
Where would you say occupancy is?
Occupancy is creeping towards the 70%,
And
perhaps
the
more.
average room rate?
It's closer to 250. Obviously, there are better times and worse times. We've been able to attract a lot of tourists. We've always been a tourist mecca. Tourists come back. The difficulty is that business meetings are still not as which are important to our hotel, which is basically a business hotel, but fortuitously also within a location that tourists like. And I'm probably
What about the catering business?
catering business is very difficult. I mean, COVID sort of knocked out large caterers, catering opportunities. And we were, again, fortunate enough to work with the Marriott, and I whisper this with the unions, to understand that there have to be cutbacks. We never had a problem finding employees, which other hotels have complained about, because we've always been one of the highest paying hotel owners.
You've been in the office building business, a lot in the suburbs, I mean, Queens specifically.
Yes.
How do you see the office market today, especially with people working from home, flexible work schedules?
And this is my opinion, basically, because I don't have the real experience of office space in Manhattan, although we do own an office building in 48th Street, and happily, it's near the Diamond District, and it's small offices. It's about 200,000 square foot building, but we're able to keep occupancy. Not at full price, but pretty good. Where I see, and in the boroughs, we have been very fortunate,
Right.
to slog through tenancies with governmental users, which is the most difficult type of tenancy to obtain because it takes years, but it's also a law of inertia. It's hard to get them in. It's hard to get them out because, first of all, they're put into place, and second of all, again, we do a good job of keeping them happy. Manhattan, I see from the distance, the tremendous problems. The most important thing that New York City has in terms of office space is that there are about 10 or 15 million people within an hour of transportation. The problem is the transportation. Our subways handle over 3 million people a day, even now. There's no place in the country that can do that. I mean, elsewhere in the country where there's office space available, people have to find jobs. New York City is the tech center, the cultural center, the medical center, the student center, education center. There's always a job in New York City, especially for young people who don't want to grow up in Des Moines or in Philadelphia. They want to be where it's at. So they're always looking for jobs. The jobs know they're going to be here. The tech companies, which have been pulling back a little bit because they see the writing on the wall, the possibility of remote, nevertheless, they have come into New York full force. They have attracted the young and the restless, the people who want to make a space for themselves, and that also is feeding into the residential community because people do have jobs in New York. The issue will be is where will they be? Will they be in Hudson Yards? Hudson Yards is very hard to get to. New York right now, and I think smartly, because we don't live from year to year, we live from decade to decade, is talking about developing huge amounts of space around Grand Central Station. Well, that's where it is. That's the hub of the subways, the hub of the railroads.
Right, and the Long Island Railroad's
Long Island Railroad's coming there. And if you go into Long Island, recently I was out on Long Island. I'm never there hardly ever, though I live there. And they're building these huge developments by the railroad stations. Ugly, beyond ugly. But they're huge, and they probably are renting out for half of 1/3 of what you in New York. So the essence of New York City is that you can get the people by rapid transportation. Elsewhere in Houston and Miami, there is no rapid transportation, and they're running into traffic jams that are unthinkable. If you drive into New York City, it's also unthinkable. You have the bus lanes, you have the restaurants, you have the distribution of Amazon every corner, you have the bike lanes. I mean, it's impossible to drive in to get anywhere in New York, but you don't have to. The key is the subways have to be clean and dependable. They're always dependable.
And safety.
Well, obviously. Clean, safe, and we think, look, I've been through many mayors. Beam should have retired the moment he became mayor. He was useless. But Koch came and gave a tremendous feel of New York City. Dinkins did nothing. He took showers every day. Along came Giuliani, and he energized and he saved the city. Of course, Bloomberg was the ultimate legislator. I call a legislator a person who's not only a politician. And of course, he was not, nobody's corruptible, but he went beyond the idea of getting money. And then we had, God help us, de Blasio. But the bottom line is that there's lulls and there are ups. There are lulls and there are ups. That's the history of New York. So New York has the basic infrastructure on jobs and on housing and tourists. Where else can you go to a place that has so many interesting things to visit on each block? I went to LA about 2 years ago. First time I was there as a tourist. And we went to the Getty Center. Beautiful. Took a whole day. Here you walk from one museum, you walk to another museum, you walk to another beautiful park. There's nothing like it in the world. Maybe in Paris, but Paris is now so expensive and so hot.
Let's bring up a couple of topics which are going to take place in 2022 in the future. Gaming has become a major business.
Yeah. Sports
betting is huge.
Yeah.
As one of my guests said to me on my show on sports betting, the state of New Jersey only charges 11%. The state of New York charges 51%.
But they get away with
as
it.
a tax. Okay, it's difficult. What's your thoughts about gaming in New York City? And then the other topic, which is very big, is what's your thoughts about the cannabis and the weed business?
Well, 10 years ago, who would have thought that you can gamble and smoke pot in New York City and get away with it legally? The world's changed. The world's changed. I'm not enthusiastic about either, but I must admit that last week, for the first time, I rooted for a non-American in the Open because I had a couple bucks on it. I had $75 in the office pool. Actually, yeah, $75, and I won $150. Now, I mean, the point is, yeah, there's a little extra if you have money on it. I play golf on a weekend, and some of my friends pay for a lot of money. I pay for $2 for the front, $2 for the back, and $1 for the thing, so you can win or lose $5. And you want to know something? I try just as hard. But a little money.
But here's the question: you have retail. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's look at retail. You know, it's still landlords aren't signing leases with cannabis people. It's easier in New Jersey, but they're still not signing leases because the federal government has, you know, the vices situation.
Yeah.
You know, so would you and Jason sign a lease today?
Why not? Is it illegal?
No, it's not illegal, but
Yeah.
perhaps your lender wouldn't.
What about when we signed leases with OTB? That was not a moral thing.
I'm not talking about.
I understand. I understand. If it's legal, I mean, would I sign a lease with a house of ill repute even if it was legal? No, I don't think so. But I have friends who had gentleman bars and were embarrassed when they were found out that they had them. We have a great location on 3rd Avenue, a block off of 85th Street, which is a central, 86th Street, which used to be a Walgreens. You want to open a cannabis place there? Sure.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
It meets the demographics.
Yeah.
It's convenient. It's
Yeah.
transportation, big
If
shopping.
there are any brokers out there, by the way, call me.
Okay. So you see cannabis in the future, and you definitely see gaming.
It's there. Liquor stores were even worse. I mean, liquor is probably worse than cannabis.
They've changed the name. It used to be liquor. Now they're wine and spirits.
There you go. There you go. And that was probably certainly, well, that was illegal during the Depression, obviously, but that's probably more destructive than cannabis, or maybe not. I have no idea. I haven't tried cannabis, and I haven't tried liquor for a long time. I have a couple of shots on Shabbos. That's it.
Okay, so what's your thoughts about tech? Technology and its effect on the office market and also residential?
That I can talk from personal experience as well as an observer. You cannot replicate face to face. You've had your video casts with Zoom. It's not the same.
No.
You don't have an opportunity to talk before, afterwards. You can't look at a person in the eye. You can't get the body language. Can you imagine that they have trials or they have legal sessions by Zoom? It's impossible. Yeah, it might create a 4-day work week, maybe. I know in our office we are back to 4 days, mandatory appearance. We have some exceptions because, fortunately or unfortunately, some of the people have a different look on things because they made maybe child care adjustments, or maybe they are easily duplicatable from home, but it's not the same. I worked from home for a while, and I found myself reading, watching some television, going outside. Not the same concentration, and certainly not interacting with other people. It'll take a while. I think there is a sense right now that people want to come back. Nobody wants to be home 5 days a week. And I think part of the problem right now is that there's that excuse of traffic, the excuse of the subways, the excuse of crime. It'll clear up. People will want to go in. But there'll be a big competition for those people. And I think the new office buildings, if one can pay $150 a square foot, are certainly going to be a lot more attractive than the old office buildings. The problem with office buildings in New York right now, aside from access, is they have to be refurbished. And there are some ecological requirements that are looming up, which are going to be very costly. And there are some landlords that just can't do that, not going to make it. But again, the new will oversee the old. I mean, this has been an epic of New York City for many years.
I think it was 10, maybe 12 years ago, you developed a property in Harlem, like on 113th, 116th?
117th Street.
117th Street and 3rd Avenue.
Yeah.
Harlem has seen its ups, its downs.
Always.
Okay. Do you see Harlem growing in the future? Because, as we said before, a developer like you likes to develop. There's limited land all over the city. So Harlem still has some land. And the Bronx, which I haven't heard you ever discuss the Bronx. Have you ever been involved?
We've looked. I never found anything that I was interested in doing. Two things. I'll go back to that, Harlem, in a second. I give a lecture occasionally, and I talk about who you should borrow from and where you should borrow and where to go and timing and everything. But the last most important, well, maybe not the most important, because luck and my grandchildren want me to say God is very important. I do that too. But you have to have fun. What you do, you want to enjoy what you're doing. I didn't enjoy going into the Bronx. I'm not saying that there aren't opportunities.
But you went to Staten Island, which many people would say, I didn't enjoy.
Wasn't my choice. My dad went there.
But you continued.
Well, you made money. We had
well with Kaufman and Broad.
We had a lot of fun in Staten Island. We built a lot of houses. We made a lot of money. But at a certain point in time, I said, I don't want to develop only in Staten Island. I want to come closer. So I went to Brooklyn. And closer, I went to downtown Brooklyn. Closer, I went to Manhattan. Not that there's anything wrong with any of these places. But the question is, are you there to just make money? Are you there to enjoy yourself? Are you there to let other people know that you're not a one-horse pony? There are important reasons why you go elsewhere as well. Also, diversification. We've been very lucky. We diversified. We don't only own apartments. We don't only own stores. We don't only own restaurants. Don't only own condominium retail on Fifth Avenue. We're happy that we've diversified and avoided conflagration, although
Okay,
it came close sometimes.
With like a minute and a half left, your father worked, your uncles were together, you're with Jason. Do you see Jason or the other children's family joining Muss Development?
Well, I do have a great relationship with my other son, Joseph. We do other things occasionally with him. My two daughters are involved in that. They know what's going on in the business.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about their
Oh.
kids. That's what I'm going to the next generation.
There will be hopefully a next generation. I think in a family-owned business, it's very important to have a family member involved. I hope that they expect to work hard, to find their own opportunities, hopefully to get financed in good opportunities. You can't grow unless you do financing. There are some people who've grown so much that they don't have to borrow from banks. That's the halcyon.
So if I look at my crystal apples, and I even have one apple here, which may be the Muss Development apple.
Could be.
It could be over here.
That was a 100-year apple.
That was a 100-year apple. I just say the apples were shiny, and I hope that I'm positive that the Muss family will continue to do a great job. And I'm happy that I've had you as a friend.
I reciprocate, Michael. We've been many, many years, and you are just absolutely a genius to this type of business.
Thank you so much.
You have a great memory, that's why.
Thanks again.
Thank you.